Hello and welcome to Schmoedown All Access. I'm your host, Caleb Boatman, and we got a stacked panel today. A lot of great guests. First up, I'm going over to somebody who has not been on the show since I started hosting, but is a really good guest. You know him as a member of the faction, the Revengers. He's played in the IG League. It's Richard Schwartz. How you doing? The glorified jobber.
Doing good.
I forgot your nickname.
Yeah, it's fine. Doing good. Have my coffee. Ready to go.
Yeah. And now moving over, moving over to the person I probably should have introduced first, like I normally do. It's my co-host running the ones and twos. It's the villain, Haven Pendergast.
What's up, dudes? Yeah, I'm glad to be here again, man. This was a fun week in the Schmoedown. Great, cut scenes, and we got a packed house, man, and it's good to be here with all these gentlemen.
Yeah, and member of the newly formed team, Business Casual, and a good buddy of somebody who played in one of this week's Schmoedown matches. It's the intern, Brandon Hanna. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Always happy to talk about the boss. I also have my coffee, so I'm ready to go.
Yeah. And then last but certainly not least, we have the IG League commish, the wrestling trivia champion. He is the king of hearts. James Schmo, how you been?
Been good. Out and about a little bit today. Didn't have a lot of time at home. Hopefully I'll be able to stick around for the majority of the conversation, but I might have to hit the road here fairly soon. So hopefully we can get through the majority of what went on this week.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, whenever you need to head out, that's fine. We're happy to have you here while we can. So let's just start talking about Wolf versus Bateman. Clark Wolf versus Ben Bateman. This is another match in the round one of this singles tournament that we got going on here. Really, so many good barn burner matches. Just so many great competitors. But Ben Bateman winning the little mini gauntlet to get the 8th seed in this tournament to play Clark Wolf. And it was a great match, and you can tell just from the way this first round started here, because at the end of the match, at the end of the first round, the scores were 6-5, so both players playing very well. So, James, what are your thoughts on the first round and everything leading up to it? Going into the match, who you thought was going to win all that?
Yeah, going into this one, it was a little close to call for me, mainly because I like both of these competitors. Clark, obviously, I'm ride or die on the Shire Wolves. I think they're a great team, great team champions together. And like I said, Clark's always classy in everything that she does. So she carries herself like a champion, as a deserving champion should. Bateman, he's, as much as I have a disdain for the demeanor, shall we say, of team action at certain junctures, you can't deny that both Andrew Guy and Ben Bateman have proven themselves as very, very strong, very driven Schmoedown competitors. So going into this match, it was a bit of a toss-up for me, though I think I gave the slight edge to Clark Wolf just because of overall experience in the Schmoedown. Bateman obviously came in a little bit later than she did, so she's had a little bit more turns at bat, as it were. So going into this, I definitely had Clark Wolf going over, but she and Bateman both put up strong showings in this match, and I mean, there's a reason Bateman ended up in the tournament this year, and he proved that he was there to compete.
Yeah, definitely. Richard, going over to you.
No, it was a very good match. Going into it, if this was the Ben Bateman of last year, I would 100% say Wolf was going to win, because the mark of improvement that Ben Bateman has done throughout this season, and even the end of last season, was remarkable. And even though I did pick Wolf in my bracket to win, I was expecting Ben to win, just because as much as Clark Wolf is a good competitor, out of her and Rachel Cushing, I believe Wolf is the weakest, just because she doesn't have as many strengths as, like, I would say as Ben does. Like, thriller and horror is her things. Like, I was expecting maybe like round 2 was going to be her downfall, but you know, it was both incredible matches, and I'm actually really happy Wolf won. So,
Yeah. Haven.
Yeah, I'm gonna kick off before the match even started. We had a little cutscene. Are you gonna talk about that at the end, or you want to?
That I'm trying to remember. Yes, because those two kind of go. We've got 2 cutscenes, so we'll kind of talk about at the end of finishing talking about this match. So we'll do both of those together.
Oh, okay. Yeah, this was they're both great players, if I'm not mistaken. Clark Wolf didn't she win Rookie of the Year 2 years ago?
Yes, she did.
Yeah.
She was the first winner of Rookie of the Year in 2016 Schmoedown Awards.
You know, she's not a slouch. You know, that's why I disagree with Richard. Yeah, she's really strong in horror. That might be her
I never
bread
said she was a slouch. I just said out of her partner, she was the weakest. Like, she's the weakest link out of her like team.
Oh yeah, no, I disagree because you know, she was partnered up with Mark Riley before, you know, and they went pretty far as a team. You know, this was going to be a tough one. I forget who I picked. Oh, I picked Clark Wolf to win this one. That's right. It was just a tough one because Bateman, man, he's been on a roll. You know, he won 2 matches just to get into this tournament, which, you know, I think they should have. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. I think he should have just got a pass. He should have already been in the tournament, but you know, whatever. I don't make the rules. They're both very knowledgeable. We haven't seen her play. Is that mine?
That's James, I'm pretty sure. James, if you want to mute your mic for a sec.
Yeah, so
that's
yeah, this was yeah, you know, Ben Bateman's been on a roll, won 2 matches to get into this tournament. We haven't seen her play a singles match in a very long time, so I didn't know if she was going to have any ring rust. So, you know, they both were great on the mic in their interviews. You know, when you have Finstock and Mark Riley in your corner, you know, it's always going to be an interesting interview before the match starts. And, yeah, you know, she came out with confidence. They both played fairly well in the first round. It was a good first round.
Yeah. And going over to Brandon.
Yeah. Going in, I knew this was going to be a tough match for Ben. I think Clark is probably a top 5 player in the league right now. She's just, you know, not to be taken lightly for sure. So I knew this was going to be tough, but Ben was on a hot streak. So I, you know, leaning to who I thought was going to win, you know, obviously I was pulling for Ben, but it was a toss up for me. But, you know, I always say if Ben could get in Clark's head, then that's going to be his key to victory. But I don't know, maybe he was too nice to her, and that sealed his fate.
Yeah. As far as my thoughts going into it were, I thought I had Clark winning, but I'll admit I was a little worried because Clark had not played in singles since she lost to Sam Levine, and had not played in any league since the Shire Wolves took the belts back in, I want to say, July or August. So it had definitely been a while since she had played, so I was a little worried that she might need a little bit of practice. But I remember that the Fife Club really works on studying and really works on prepping, because there have been videos that have come out of, on like Twitter of Emma Fife really studying and working hard with her competitors. So I was pretty confident in that Clark wouldn't be fazed by that. But the other thing that kind of made me worried is, and they do address this in the post-match interview, that Clark has a history of losing the first round of the Schmoedown Ultimate Tournament. Because I think Clark Wolf is an overall better competitor than Ben Bateman, who I do think is a great competitor, but I think Clark Wolf's overall better. But I also think she's an overall better competitor than Josh McCouga, and an overall better competitor in Breanne Chandler. And as we saw in last year's Ultimate Schmoedown and the year before, she lost both of those first round matches. So it always kind of seems like Clark had a little bit of a bad luck streak in those first-round matches of the Ultimate Schmoedown tournament. But she was able to break that curse, pull it off, beat Bateman, who has really transformed. As Richard said, he has become an incredible player as of late. He's really like stepped up his game. This is not the Bateman of last year. I think he's really increased his game here. But yeah, first round really showing the incredible skill of both these players. These are top tier competitors in my opinion. So yeah, moving on now to round two. Round two started off with Clark spinning the wheel, and she gets her strength. She gets horror, and you know when she gets horror, she's not gonna spin again because that's her great strength, and she does very well, getting 7 out of a possible 8 points with that, bringing her score up to 13 total. And just doing very well with that. Then Ben Bateman goes up to spin, and he gets Brad Pitt, and he does very well with that, bringing the score and getting a perfect round with that, bringing the score 13-13 at the end of round two. Brandon, what were your thoughts on round two?
So of course Clark ends up with horror, and yeah, I mean, I don't know if it was just me, but like I did very well playing along with both the horror and Brad Pitt questions. So maybe, I don't want to say the questions were easy, but maybe, I don't know if you guys how you guys felt about the questions, but they were all questions that I knew, especially the horror ones. I'm a big horror geek, not as big as Clark for sure, but I mean, yeah, overall Clark spun his strength, and then Ben, Ben's no slouch, when he gets a guy like Brad Pitt or, like a Tom Cruise category, he's always typically really good with that. So, I mean, overall, both competitors were able to play to some of their strengths and just keep this game really close going into the third round.
Yeah. James, over to you.
I was very impressed with both competitors. I was playing along as well, and as far as the horror category goes, I knew at least 2, if not 3 of the questions. The only one I don't think I really knew right offhand was the hereditary question because I haven't seen it. So that was the only one I couldn't really answer. But Clark, her bread and butter is that horror thriller category. Anytime she gets that, she does very, very well. I mean, she hosted a show called Collider Nightmares, for crying out loud. So you knew she wasn't gonna. If she was gonna struggle in that category, there had to be some deep cut questions, and obviously that wasn't the case. Bateman, I mean, let's be honest. Anybody who's ever been an action star, whether it's a Brad Pitt, a Tom Cruise, Jason Statham, Bruce Willis, whoever else, he's gonna know his stuff when it comes to guys like that. So him spitting Brad Pitt and doing well didn't really shock me. There were a couple of questions in there that I didn't really know very well, but I just kind of threw that off as well. I just got to, deep dive into Brad Pitt's filmography a little bit more. But overall, tie game going into round 3, always a nail biter. So I love it when third round start off like that because you never know which direction it's going to go. It all just hinges on, what kind of luck do they have when picking their numbers. So I was excited for it. I was amped.
Yeah. Richard, over to you.
Well, let's see. For horror, I knew a couple. Like, I see horror movies, but I don't like, horror is not my thing. Like to watch them, enjoy them, but not necessarily to study like I am for like the IG leagues and stuff. But when it comes to Brad Pitt for Ben's, like, he did good. Like, but like when the thing about Brad Pitt is, if you're like, unless you're like getting a Meryl Streep category or Cary Grant, like Brad Pitt's been in a lot of movies, but he hasn't been in like so many movies where you'd be like, oh my God, I forgot he was in that one type of deal. Like Brad Pitt, for the most part, has been in a lot of memorable movies. So I knew a lot of, like, if not all of his questions. So it's not like Ben killed it, but it was no surprise that he wasn't going to kill it.
Yeah, Haven?
Yeah. I'm just looking at some of the comments right now. I shouldn't even jumped into that cesspool. I don't even. There's a.
Never read the comments, Haven. That's the #1 rule of YouTube. You broke the rule.
It looks like Rachel Cushing actually was in the comment section, but I'm not. Anybody could have put that, but it seems like it could be her. She wrote a little bit of
I'm
stuff.
looking at it right now, and that is her.
That is her. Okay, yeah. So that was pretty cool that she wrote in. Yeah, man. Horror is her bread and butter. Clark Wolf. I like the way it was. I like the way it was positioned on the wheel, because if it would have just went another little second, it would have went on opponent's choice. So they put her strength right next to opponent's choice. So that seemed kind of fair. She rocked it. Hereditary is one film I have not seen yet. I was looking through the DVDs I bought on Black Friday, and I thought I picked that one up, but I didn't. So that's upsetting, because I do want to see that one. I like horror a lot, especially good horror, and I heard great things about it. Yeah, so she rocked that category. Ben Bateman got a strength, which is Brad Pitt. He rocked that one. The one question that I would have had trouble with, which I think he got, was the Oakland A's, which MCU guy was in the. Yeah,
I love the movie Moneyball, by the way.
Well, that was actually my first exposure to Chris Pratt, so for me, I got that right away.
Not Parks and Rec? Jesus.
No, yeah, I saw him in Moneyball before Parks and Rec.
Me too.
I saw him as a dramatic actor first, and I was like, wait, this guy's also funny? Okay.
Yeah, I didn't know Chris Pratt at the time, but yeah.
I knew that too, but at the same time, I was making sure in Moneyball that there weren't any other MCU characters in that movie. Because, it's the MCU. There's like 20 movies. Like, there could be another actor that could possibly just shown up for a second.
Yeah, I mean, we all know Samuel L. Jackson's practically in friggin' everything. So, I mean, it wouldn't have been a surprise if he was in there.
Yeah,
right, sorry, Haven, we didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah.
That's fine.
I just love Moneyball. I'm sorry.
Moneyball is amazing. I love it.
That's one film I haven't seen. I know it's based on books by a popular guy that writes a lot of business books. Because of my job. He wrote like 4 other things that turn into movies.
I believe he wrote The Big Short.
Yep.
Yes, and Blindside.
Yep.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, he wrote. So this guy writes all this stuff, and then it gets turned into movies. The Big Short was interesting. But Moneyball, I mean, I don't know. I just never, baseball's not really my thing. I've seen a couple baseball movies. I just never watched that one. Maybe one day I'll get around to it. I didn't, I don't know. It just didn't appeal to me, so I didn't catch it. So that I would have never got that one right. But yeah, for both of these great players, the caliber players they are, to go into round 3 tied, they both got a strength of theirs, and they're 13-13, man. That's the type of round 1 match, or any match, that we would like to see in the Schmoedown. So being tied up 13 going into the 3rd round, man, this was a really great match,
Yeah. I do want to say, Haven, I am notorious for not liking sports. I love Moneyball, so I don't think you have to be too interested in baseball. So I would recommend you check out Moneyball, because I think that's a really great.
It's more about the analytics of it, because I read read some of the book, at my job, so I know it's more behind the scenes stuff and how the guy made a team with analytics instead of actual he was the first one to do it. So yeah, I know. I mean, it was interesting. I mean, I like the Clint Eastwood film, The Blind.
The Trouble with the Curve.
Yeah, I like that one a little. I like that one. I own that one on DVD.
That one came out at the same time. But, yeah. Anyway, I digress. I got to everybody, right?
Yeah. Collider baseball talk, everybody.
To start on James' window, extra change.
Wait, I didn't get to James. What?
No, never mind. It was. I said I'm waiting for a homeless person to bang on James' window to extra change.
That's why
right out for that right now.
That's why James has McRib all ready to go.
Anyway, so as far as round 2, I did feel like these horror questions were a little, at least for me, a little easier, because I did pretty well with them, and I consider myself only okay with horror. But yeah, I think maybe that might have to do with the horror match that they had for the patrons. because maybe they exhausted a lot of their more deep-cut questions on that one, because I'm guessing they'd want their deep-cut questions for that horror fatal five-way.
Yeah, I didn't consider that.
Yeah, that might have been the case, or it might have just been those questions happen to be just lower in difficulty. And difficulty is so subjective. We say that on here all the time. Difficulty is so subjective. One man's 5-pointer could be another man's 1-pointer. It's incredibly subjective based on your experience with film. But regardless, I think both of these players did very well, regardless of how I felt about the difficulty of the questions. They both did incredibly well with these questions. So yeah, moving on now to round 3. Ben Bateman goes up first, who played Willie Mays Hayes in Major League. He gets that one right. Clark Wolf goes up. Emma Stone and Ryan Gosling both starred in La La Land. In which rom-com did they make their first debut movie together? She gets that right. Crazy Stupid Love goes back over to Bateman. And this is the one that a lot of people are surprised he missed. In Hook, what word does Rufio and the Lost Boys constantly use as an excited battle cry? And he couldn't get bangarang. But yeah, so he misses that one. And then goes over to Clark Wolf, Keanu Reeves, and Charlize Theron star in what 2001 romantic drama? Clark Wolf gets that one, and then goes over to Ben Bateman for his 5-pointer, and he gets a really tough 5-pointer. In 1995's Friday, what is the name of the neighborhood bully that protagonist Craig fights at the end of the movie? He gets that right with Devo, and then Clark Wolf goes up for her 5-pointer, and yeah, she gets what 1971 thriller features Dustin Hoffman as a meek American who, after settled down in rural England with his wife. This question's very long. The answer was Straw Dogs. But yeah, so Clark gets that question right and wins the match very close, 23-20. Both players playing incredibly well. Brandon, I'm going to start with you. What were your thoughts on that and the match in general, on the third round and the match in general?
Yeah, well, yeah, of course, the bangarang question ended up being the difference in the match, and so many people are giving Ben a hard time about that one. I mean, I personally, I don't think I've seen Hook all the way through, and I know I'm going to get a lot of hate for that, but I didn't know it either.
Hook's only okay. I might get a lot more hate for that, but I think Hook's fun, but you know.
And then, of course, Clark wins on a thriller question. Of course, it was like destiny that it was Clark's fate to win this match, I guess. I don't know. But I mean, both competitors came out really strong. We were that one question away from going to sudden death, I believe. So that would have been another crazy, exhausting sudden death match. But yeah, at the end of the day, both competitors. I mean, actually, now that I think about it, the match kind of went the same way the Facebook poll went, where there's like neck and neck, giving the slight edge to Clark, and that's kind of how it ended up. So overall, both competitors played strong. Wish Ben could have won, but we'll get him next year.
Yeah, no, I mean, Ben played incredibly well, and yeah, it was so close. You're right, Richard.
Yeah, no, like those questions, like both sides, I feel like kind of like had it easy in a sense. Even though Ben Bateman got the bangarang question wrong, that should have been a 2-pointer question, not a 3-pointer. Because I think even if you haven't seen the movie, bangarang is just like a classic, like quote, like thing that like it's been played out in other like parodies and stuff that he should have known. First of all, I think it's kind of funny that another Peter Pan question takes out another deciding match, because the match against Andrejko and Ethan, where he couldn't get Michael, Wendy, and John, which I also thought was like a super easy 5-pointer question in that match.
That was
different story. No, like at least for me, but it was funny. Like the one thing that always irritates me about Ben is just him just pausing, waiting for the delay effect. It's like, we get it, it. You're not fooling anybody. Just answer the question.
Yeah,
and
Peter.
And on the same note, like a lot of people, I remember I was reading the comments, were complaining about like how like, oh, Wolf's 5-pointer was so easy. It's her thriller. It's her strength. wasn't that easy. I didn't know it. And at the same time, Ben could have easily have picked that number, had picked that question. So she just happened to get that. So like it was a great match. I love those neck and neck things. Wolf deserved the win. And the whole Ben waiting is just annoying sometimes. That's
James?
all I have to say.
James?
At this point, I'm almost dead certain that Ben Bateman is really just Alec Baldwin as the boss baby, just mutated into a full-grown man, because he must not have had a childhood if he didn't know Bangarang. I mean, good God, man. But all joking aside, like I said, I give Team Action a hard time. I give a lot of competitors a hard time. I'm here to make jokes. It's what I do. But overall, like I said, one question was the difference maker in that third round. If Bateman had gotten that one, we would have gone to sudden death, and who knows how deep into sudden death we would have gone in order to get either the same result that we got, or, you know, if Ben had gone over, it would have been an interesting scenario to be put in. But overall, what we got was a great match regardless. Clark Wolf moves on, and now, especially with what happened on Friday, which I know you guys will get to because I'm gonna have to hop off here in a minute. But it's interesting because now we've got Clark Wolf going up against a fellow Fife Club member in Mark Andraco. So that's going to be definitely an interesting matchup, and one I will have my eyes glued to my YouTube screen. That is for damn sure. So.
Yeah, definitely. Haven?
That Hook, I never seen Hook. I don't think I've ever seen it, even as a kid, and I'm probably the oldest one up here. It just was a film that I wasn't really, interested in seeing. I don't know. It's just one of those films I didn't watch in the theaters when it came on VHS. I didn't watch it. I liked Robin Williams a lot and other things. It just that movie didn't make sense to me because he was older. I don't know. So I just never cared to watch it. So that question to me should have been the 5-pointer. Like, I know some of you guys are saying it could have been 2-pointer. It's all about subjective. The first, each of their 2-point questions were relatively easy. There were 2-pointers. I would have got those. I like the Sweet November question. I love that film. I own it. It's right over there. I watched that. That's one of my favorite romance movies because it has kind of a twist. Like I like romance where it doesn't like end with them, happily in love. Like mine's are always like the ones where it's like kind of ends in tragedy. But the Debo question, 5-pointer, like that was easy. Like I don't know. I guess I'm from the hood, so I watch a lot of films that are like have a big African American cast. So Debo to me was like a 1-point question. I was like, oh yeah, Debo. It's probably like a 20-year-old movie now. But Betarangs, I would have never got that to save my life. I understand, Clark was excited, when he got that one wrong. She blurted out the answer. I guess it's a movie that she really enjoys watching. I just never cared to see Hook. And I agree with a lot of people on the Facebook page, man. I can't stand. I like the Fife Club members. I just can't stand Emma Fife, And I'm not worried because I doubt I'm going to go on the Schmoedown next year. But yeah, a lot of people are up here saying that they just see her as a heel, Emma Fife, and I agree. I've been saying that from day one. Somebody says right here that she's pretty much like the Palpatine from like the Star Wars prequels, like that, And I don't know, she just seems not genuine to me. But I really do like Clark. I like Rachel. I like Andraco. I like them as a team. It just sucks that Ben lost this match because he was on a road winning 2 matches just to get in the tournament. But give props to Clark Wolf. She knew her stuff this match. And she got the points and she got the win. So congratulations to Clark Wolf.
I think they might be setting up a heel turn for Emma Fife. So that's just one theory that they may be secretly like having a heel turn storyline for that, because I don't think she's not genuine as like a nice person behind the scenes. She's probably very nice behind the scenes. she works with her competitors, but I think she's whether you like her persona on Schmoedown, that's all subjective to just how you feel about that. But yeah, I think did I get to everybody? Yeah. Okay, that's what I thought. But yeah, I thought it was a great match. I knew Clark's 5-pointer, but I didn't think it was easy because a lot of people don't really remember Straw Dogs that well. Really, the first time I had ever heard of Straw Dogs is because of the movie Hot Fuzz, because they keep repeating, so-and-so were extras in Straw Dogs. Why didn't they get the part? And that's why they killed the drama, or the guy who runs the theater director. They end up killing that guy. Spoiler alert for Hot Fuzz, but if you haven't seen Hot Fuzz, that's your fault. It's a great movie. Anyway, I digress. It was a really good match, and yeah, the Bangarang, I knew that one, but if you didn't grow up with Hook or watch it, you might not know that one. But fun little side story about Hook. The first time I watched that was when I was 6, and it was on this new thing called Netflix streaming.
Jesus.
And that's how I watched Hook for the first time.
Yeah, I got one better for you. First time I watched Hook.
Oh, I thought you were going to say you watched Hook because you were in Neverland for like 10 years. Because you never
James, what were you saying?
I said, yeah, you think that dates you? Hell, when I first saw Hook, it was from a little place called Blockbuster.
But anyway,
mine was South Shore's Video.
Did you go to Brandon for round 3?
Yeah.
Okay. I thought, because I remember him saying something about Straw Dog.
I think I was the first one. So.
Yeah, Brandon was first.
But yeah,
Caleb,
yes,
weren't you the dude that lost his marbles in the movie?
The old guy? Toodles is the character.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, it was a really good match. And now I do want to talk about the post and pre and post credit scenes that they have there. First up, you have Brienne coming in, talking to Tom Dagnino, asking him to sign this piece of paper to for Who's the Boss to potentially not be at the Spectacular. And this is where my theories about Brienne Chandler start to come true. Because, last time we talked about her with that post-credit scene with her and Emma Fyffe, and how maybe she was potentially up to no good because we saw her getting Emma Fyffe's signature. Well, she said to Emma Fyffe, well, Tom's signature was on here. And then she says to Tom, well, Emma's signature is on here. So that means one of those 2 times she forged either Emma or Tom's signature, meaning that I think we can expect a heel turn from Brienne, which, that would definitely be something. And then we see Tom telling Ben and Mark that there's a potential that Who's the Boss cannot be at the Spectacular. So I definitely think there's some speculation with Brienne, turning heel again or being a part of corruption or something like that in there. So I'm curious to hear your guys' speculation on where this is all going to go. Richard.
Oh, okay. Well, first of all, I guess I missed that one part where Tom said, she's had Emma's signature already on there. I thought that it was just it was out of order, but that was my fault. But I could definitely see Brienne doing the whole corruption storyline, because if you all remember last season, at the end, you saw Brienne ride off with Kalinowski. So I thought, and they never really explained that this season. So, that is a possibility.
Yeah. James.
I think the heel turn could definitely be in the cards. I just hope to God they're not going to go the direction I think they're going to go, and where I'm afraid they're going to go is a heel stable of Brienne and Tom as the commissioner, because I feel like if he somehow lucks his way into winning the Commissioner Bowl, which I know we'll get to in the or you guys will get to in the post-credit scene for the second match, If he somehow comes out on top of that, the Schmoedown is going to become insufferable. Because all that guy does is spout gibberish. I swear to God, he must be drunk on something 24/7. Holy crap! I do not want to deal with that mongoloid in a mask for the next freaking 12 months as the commissioner. I mean, for crying out loud.
Well, James, the fire that burns in your fireplace is the same fire that burns your house down.
With that, I actually got to pop off here. I got to get running, but thanks for having me on. It's always a pleasure.
Do you want to plug something?
Yeah, real quick, I will plug. Join me right here at Jacksonville Trivia tomorrow night. The finals of the Sweaty Nerd Series will be going down. It is Chris C-Dub Wood and Jay Burns, the Arsonist. The winner will play Grant Gregory just before the Christmas holidays, so be on the lookout for that. You can also find my own YouTube channel, James Schmoedown, where I do all my fun stuff. I'm actually getting ready to post a video up there as soon as I get home, which is part of the reason why I'm running. But, yeah, so join me there. My personal YouTube channel, James Schmoedown, and Jack of All Trivia. Defending the championship in the wrestling league, running the IG league, and getting my ass kicked in the movie league.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
See ya.
See ya.
Okay, Brandon, we have not heard your speculation on this, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Listen, some people cry on bikes, others cry in Ferraris. We cry in Ferraris, okay? But I honestly, I don't know which way this is gonna go. As a fan, I dug the cutscenes. I think this is at the end where it's Dagnino and Who's the Boss are talking, and he's like, "Oh, don't worry, I signed it Frank Dagnino." Like, "Oh, awesome, man." They walk away, and he's like, "Should have signed it Frank Dagnino." So that was I got a kick out of that. I always loved Tom. I think he's the best. Hashtag Dagnino for commish. But yeah, it's tough to say who's gonna go heel and what could possibly happen. Who's really pulling the strings of corruption? I'm just excited to see where it's gonna go. I don't know if I really have any concrete speculation on things, so I'm just gonna wait and see how it plays out.
Yeah,
Wildberries will go heel, and they'll call themselves the Mildberries.
So quick little side note. One of my favorite things I've ever done Schmoedown related is that the fire that burns in your fireplace is the same fire that burns your house down. That, but it looks like an inspirational quote picture. And that got quite a few likes on the Facebook page, as I remember. That was a lot of fun to make. It was I enjoyed doing that. Anyway, Haven, are you there?
I'm here.
All right.
I'm here. Let me turn my camera back on. I had to take a quick break for a second. All right. Let me see. Over here. Okay, yeah, because I like before I get to the pre-match and the post-match stuff, I want to the interviews were great. You know, Tom is just amazing. You know, when he was like, you know, we cry. You know, some people crying Ferraris, some people crying bikes, crying Ferraris. That was great. You know, it was disappointing to see Ben lose. You know, playing so hard. Like I said, I've been reading a lot of these comments, which I'm not going to go into because, like you said, some of them are kind of negative towards the Five Club. Yeah, you know, when the Fight Club was having their interviews, you know, and you seen the crew Who's the Boss show up, so they kind of had a little face off right then and there. And you know, Tom says, "I slept 16 hours and I'm still tired of your face." That was freaking hilarious as hell. You know, oh man, that was funny. All right, so let's get to these. Yeah, when Brienne came in the very beginning, you know, she went to Tom. He was just chilling in the hallway. Yeah, that was a cool little interaction. She had him sign the paper. We don't really know what's going on with Brienne. But you got to remember, when she joined the league, her and Stacy were heels in the beginning, I believe. They were heels. You know, so that was even last year. She left the Viper squad. Then she, you know, she rode off with Mike, and we never really got any kind of clarification what happened with that. So who knows? You know, she's been kind of walking the line, toting the line, as they say. You know, she's kind of been face. a little bit this year, so I really don't know what's going on with that. And then the last scene, we had Who's the Boss talking to each other, and then Tom shows up in his sailor hat. I guess he's about to jump on his yacht after this. And he tells the guys that he signed the paper, and they get upset with him. But then he says he signed it, a different name or whatever. And then he's like, "Oh shit, maybe I should have signed, that instead of the 12 different names that he uses." So that was interesting. So we got to just see where how this plays out. But I'm really enjoying the cutscenes, the pre-match cutscene and the post-match scene that they're doing, really hyping up the spectacular. It looks like it's going to be really intriguing when we get to the spectacular, especially with the next match that we're about to talk about, because more stakes were introduced in that one.
Yeah. I definitely think that we could see Brienne do like another heel turn. I guess maybe it wouldn't be another heel turn, but going back to being a heel, because since we're seeing her, sign, she had to be lying either to Emma or to Tom, because she told Emma that Tom had signed it, and then she told Tom that Emma signed it. So Brienne had to trick one of them. Now, whether she was tricking him for a good cause or tricking him because she's got some grandiose plan up her sleeves, I do think it's going to go that way. Whether she is a part of corruption or not, I'm not quite sure. We could see it's potential she's actually the mastermind of corruption in all this, but who knows? I think there's a lot of interesting possibilities that they can do with Brienne here, because I definitely hope to see her back, because I think Brienne is just really talented, and I've kind of missed her playing in singles, because I think she's a great competitor. I mean, she won the free-for-all. Let's not forget it. I think had she picked a better teammate, we could have seen her as a team champion. But regardless, she's incredibly talented. I do want to now move on now to the final round one match of this tournament, Dan Murrell versus Stacey Howard. So yeah, at the beginning of this round, Murrell comes out with Riley, Roca, and then Stacey comes out dressed like Edward Scissorhands, showing off that she can do those costumes very well. She works on her entrances, and Stacey did well, getting 4 points, at the end of round one. But Murrell, man, he got his first perfect round he has ever gotten in the Schmoedown. I believe Frankie Numbers, the guy who does the stats at the end, said that this was his first perfect round in round one, at least since they implemented the bonus point for getting all round one questions right. So just an impressive run from Dan. So Brandon, we'll start with you. What were your thoughts on going into the match you thought was going to win, and round one in general?
Going into the match, I would probably say that Dan was probably going to win, but Stacey is really good. You never want to underestimate her. I think on any given day, she could probably beat any competitor in the league. She's not necessarily the best player, but you never know. But yeah, I mean, we got the Dan Murrell of old. He's back. This isn't the same guy that went against Andrew Guy, and Jay definitely comments on that later on. But yeah, overall, impressive to see Dan back in the state of mind that we all expect him to be in when he comes into these matches. So
yeah, Richard.
Yeah, I mean, I picked Dan to win. I mean, but at the same time, like Brandon said, you never underestimate Stacey. And also, I was like worried that like Dan lost to Andrew Guy, Dan lost the second round of the tournament. Like that mentality can, for a lot of players, like even in the fan leagues, it can get into your mind games. It can give you mind games, and might not do your best. But it was the Dan of old. He is back with the Fury now, and it was a good match, even though under the circumstances, it was still a good match.
Yeah, Haven.
All right, yeah, yeah. I think most of the people picked Dan to win this one. You know, everybody loves Dan, respects Dan because of the person he is. You know, he's an ultimate baby face. You know, he doesn't show any heel characteristics. You know, he loves movies. You know, we all know that from watching him over at Screen Junkies, and you could tell he's just a really cool guy. So it's there's no hate on him. You know, he is who he is. You know, he comes out there and he's being himself. You know, so you could see that coming across off the screen. You know, the interviews were good. I mean, Jay Washington is Jay Washington. But it's good to see Mark Riley back with the Horsemen. You know, since for a while we've seen him with Who's the Boss, we've seen him with that team, and then to see him with Dan and Roca coming out, you know, during the interview, and then man, Stacey Howard is just amazing. You know, she's very underrated. I mean, she's a really good player. It's just sometimes, you know, well, we're going to talk about the second round later, but and this she was up against a juggernaut, you know, and sadly to say, once I really loved the entrance. You know, once I started hearing the music, I was like, holy shit, that's Edward Scissorhands, you know. And then when she came out dressed as Edward Scissorhands, I was like, oh, I'm in love. Like there it is. Like yeah, you won me over. Like, you know, she already had before. He's one of those characters that really appreciates the Schmoedown, and you see that she takes her time and effort to make the fans appreciate it more. And man, she's just so cool, man. Like she's just amazing. And yeah, man, Dan is Dan, man. You know, he had the hiccup. Well, not really a hiccup. You know, he played against the GOAT, Andrew Guy. You know what people expected. You know, I picked Andrew Guy to win that match, and of course he did. You know, so you know that wasn't surprising to me at all because you know Andrew Guy is one of the greatest players of all time. But yeah, man, Dan Murrow is focused now, man, and that's a scary Dan Murrow. Like you said, he went 8 for 8, and then I believe he got his 9. Yeah, he got the bonus question too. So he's when Dan is locked in, when he has time to adjust, and you know, when he first came back, maybe he had a little ring rust, which he says, you know, that's not a thing or something, but sometimes it is. You know, when you don't play for a while and you get back into a match, it's kind of hard to win unless, you know, even for greats like him. So seeing him at full form is a scary thing, man. It is really scary. And some of those first round questions that Stacey Howard missed, I was like, oh man, you know, there was 2 of them that I thought she would have got and she didn't. But yeah, you know, to have the score, what was it, 9-4 going into the 9-5 going into 9-4 going in the second round. It was still relatively close, you know. I mean, I've seen, you know, weirder things happen, but whew, yeah, you know, Dan is back to being Dan, so that, you know, everybody else needs to watch out. It's going to be scary.
Yeah. I mean, look, I think Dan Murrow played a good game against Andrew Guy. I think Andrew Guy just, you know, had the better game on that day. But I think Dan Murrow was getting questions right when he played Andrew Guy. He wasn't just dropping easy questions. He was playing well. It's just Andrew Guy was just on fire that day. But I do think we saw a little more fire and a little more passion from Dan Murrow than maybe we have, because I think he really wanted to redeem himself. But yeah, Dan Murrow's I think if I had to pick an all-time favorite player, I'd probably go Dan. I had to narrow it down to one. That would be my personal pick, would be Dan Murrow. But I think, you know, there are lots of great players. But yeah, Stacey Howard, always putting her effort in on the entrances. I always appreciate when players really do put in that extra effort to make the entrances interesting. People like Stacey Howard, Bibiani, Breanne Chandler, who always...
Me and the Machine.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Thank you. I forgot about that. Yeah, all those players who... and the Shire Wolves, too. They definitely don't skip out on the cool entrances there. Thor Ragnarok.
I was just gonna say that the Thor Ragnarok entrance was great.
So yeah, I mean, I always appreciate it when players can really put in that like top-notch effort into their entrances.
Oh, well, Mark with Clark Wolf, they always came out with nice entrances also.
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, the It entrance is a classic.
Oh yeah. No
Yeah.
two.
Yeah, I mean, and the American Psycho entrance of 6 Degrees. Yeah, I mean, anyway, we could talk about great Schmoedown entrances all day because there are so many good ones, mainly by the people we just mentioned. But yeah, Stacey Howard. I mean, that Edward Scissorhands question was great. I think maybe those Scissorhands may have hurt her a little bit because maybe it was harder to kind of focus when you're trying to hold like the pen and write with those hands. I don't know. That might have been a little bit of a disadvantage for her, but who knows? Anyway, Stacey Howard played a great game, but Dan just was on fire.
I was saying the only thing that actually bothers me sometimes is like Stacey's technically a heel, and like most of the time, like while she's playing, she'll kind of be face. Just kind of wish she'd be consistent with her character sometimes.
Yeah,
That's my thing.
And I think there's somebody here who can speak a little more to that because he's here and he will go heel during the promo interviews, and then you kind of see the genuine article during the actual match. But I actually like that. So, Brandon, what are your thoughts on that?
I had that exact same thought, you know. I mean, it's tough for me sometimes. Yeah, like I try to, you know, play up the team action heel aspect, you know, in the couple, you know, fan league matches that I've done. And yeah, once the match starts going, it's just like I'm trying to focus on the questions, and just my normal self, and I'm like, oh wait, I'm supposed to be mean. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, the Viper Squad, it's pretty interesting. You know, they're supposed to be heels. Janine does a pretty good job with that. But even like Jay, sometimes, you know, you see like his more vulnerable side a lot lately. And it's kind of played for a laugh. So
I miss seeing Jay playing. Like I miss seeing Jay competing. Oh,
Yeah.
I always liked him competing.
Yeah, he hasn't played since he lost in the IG tournament.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I think they're heels, but they're kind of wishy-washy. But you know, I like that. It's not everything is black and white. There's a few gray areas, and sometimes people can be in between a little bit, and I think that's okay.
Yeah. I definitely agree. That's why I don't play a character when I'm doing matches, because I cannot, because I know me, I will get so into doing that character thing that I'll just forget about the questions and just be playing the character, being like, you're mine, I'm going to win. And then Haven goes, and won, and I didn't write anything down.
Well, that is what I love about Ben and Andrew, is that they've perfected doing both at the same time.
Yeah, Ben and Andrew, man,
they're amazing at it.
Their heel work is pitch perfect.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you know, it took me a while to kind of get into them. Like most heels, it usually takes me a little while, but after I really grown to appreciate how good
here's the thing about team action is like they come off as such, you know, like jerks most of the time, that like when they're trying to be nice, like during the match, like you think that they're just being jerks. Like, even when they're trying to be nice, you still think they're being jerks.
But
that's how good of a heel team they are.
Yeah. Well, I remember, I believe Ben Bateman was talking on like the Riley Roundtable that he did, that you know, people really thought like that he was kind of a jerk when he was doing his heel stuff, because they weren't quite prepared for it, especially in the beginning.
Yeah. Definitely. Like when they first came into the league, I don't think Christian told anybody that they were heels. So people just genuinely thought that they were assholes for a while.
Yeah.
Which kind of works. It's kind of, you know, plays their characters.
It throws you off your game.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, Ben Bateman actually said that when he did an interview here, Jack of All Trivia.
Yeah. Exclusive.
Sunday, 3:30 Eastern Time. Jack of All Schmoedown All Access on the Jack of All Trivia channel. Don't change that channel, folks. But anyway, yeah, it's definitely hard to keep that heel character when you're trying to focus, you know, on recalling questions and that type of thing. But anyway, unless anybody has any thoughts on the first round, more thoughts on the first round. No? Okay, so let's move on now to round 2. And Stacey Howard goes up, gets directors, and she definitely struggles with that, getting only 3 points, with that bringing her total up to 7, and then Merle really capitalizing on those steals, bringing his score up to 12. So before Dan Merle even had a chance to spin, he was up by 5. And then Dan Merle goes up and he gets every single one of the questions he asks right. And he wins 18 to 7, just playing so well. And getting a perfect round there. The first perfect round by KO ever. Or perfect round with a KO, I believe, according to the stats. The first time anyone has knocked out somebody while getting a perfect round. I believe Frank said that. So, the match is over. And then, you have the interviews where, you have Stacey Howard talking about her loss, Jay Washington talking about kind of hyping up the match between Merle and Irwin. And then you have the Merle Riley and Roca all there. Jen Sturger interviewing Merle. And then Mara just randomly walks in through the interview, crashes it for about 1 second, says, "Good job," then leaves, which is so hilarious. Mara's the best. Mara is the greatest. But yeah, it was a really good match. Haven.
This was it was unfortunate for Stacey. I'm surprised you didn't mention. She spun by the peg. When she on her first.
Yeah, because of her scissor hands.
Yeah,
which everyone blames Edward for his scissor hands and what he does. Edward can't control his scissor hands. It's not his fault.
It's funny now because people are saying that they need to make a shirt, spin by the wheel, not the pegs. Because literally now Christian is going to say that for every damn match. And it's kind of getting old where I'm just like, all right, Christian. Like he said, I can understand why he's saying it because, she did spin by the peg. She didn't know because you see when she spun by the peg and Christian's like, oh, no, spin by the wheel, spin by one. She just kind of looked at him like, what the hell are you talking about? When she was – and that was – man, the
wheel.
Yeah. So this was a tough one to watch, man. I mean, I just think she had an off game. Like I said, I think she's an unbelievable player. I think she's very knowledgeable. This doesn't really show her knowledge in movie trivia because she's played in other matches where she's proven that she's a lot better than this. She just I think she had an off game. Some questions just didn't go her way, and Dan was just in rare form where he was just focused. He was ready. Even with multiple choice, she couldn't get answers right. So after she went. And after Stacey was done with her round 2, she only had 7 points. Dan got 3 steals, so he was up to 12. And then he went up, spun, and, he went to multiple choice when he needed to. And holy shit, man, to end round 2, 18 to 7 and a KO in round 2, that's I've never seen that before in the Schmoedown. So I believe that's got to be a first. I don't think I've ever seen that before.
There have been KOs at the end of round 2 before.
For real?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. All right, you're right.
That's the only way to get a KO.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Unless you're like a 5-round match.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, so this was man, this was pretty much a slaughter. I was in shock. It just seemed like a tale of 2 different rounds. Round 1 was kind of close. I mean, there was a gap between the points, but round 2 was just a different monster, and Dan just cleaned house, man. And we're talking the post-match interviews. Jay Washington. I like the shirt though. The Happy Lana Day. If you guys don't know, that's a WWE wrestler that's on SmackDown Live, a female wrestler. So the shirt was cool. See Jay Washington representing, but he was kind of fake crying, and him and Jen Sturger back and forth. I don't know. I don't really care for it, to be honest. It doesn't really matter, you know. But you know, Stacy is a class act. Yeah, she's supposed to be a heel with the Viper Squad, but she never really plays a heel. You know, she's just her, man, and she's very charming. She's a doll, sweetheart. And then you had the Horsemen out there, and they were all happy. They were excited. You know, Jen was happy. You know, Mark Riley. You know, they were really excited. You know, they kind of talked about the possibility of playing Roca, Dan versus Roca. They kind of brushed it off and said, no, you know, he's going to focus on Ethan next. And then, of course, we had the great cameo where we had the IG champion walk by and just was like, good match. And then, you know, she kind of leaned in the mic and was like, good match, and then just kept walking by. I thought that was really cool. But yeah, this match was I think Ethan Irwin is I know we are going to talk about a prediction later, but I think out of everybody in the tournament left standing, I think Ethan Irwin is not going to be rattled by this, you know. I think he's one of the guys that doesn't care who he's going to face. He's very knowledgeable. He's not going to be afraid of the hype. That's Dan Murrow, you know, and I think Ethan Irwin is going to take this opportunity to probably maybe prove himself more to the fans. So I think this is going to be a killer match, the next week one.
Yeah, I think Irwin versus Murrow, whoever wins that one is going to win the whole tournament. Whichever one, either Irwin or Murrow, whoever wins is going to be the winner of the tournament and going on to face Roca. But anyway, Richard.
Look, going to round two. First off, the whole spin the wheel, spin the peg things. If you keep on telling someone to run with scissors and they keep on running with scissors, of course you're going to keep on repeating it over and over because there's going to be that one person still running with scissors. But if I'm not mistaken, didn't Stacy first spin movie release dates? If I'm not mistaken,
I believe
she spent something like that.
I think so.
Yeah, because if I was Stacy, I would have kept that instead of spinning again. Because I mean, even though like Dan's decent at movie release dates, like it's still possible he could have missed. Like even if she gets it wrong, there's no guarantee Dan would immediately steal unless she went down to multiple choice, and then that would have been a little bit easier.
Yeah.
I mean, directors. Oh, sorry. I was just saying, directors. You know, like it's a hit or miss for a lot of people. Like you know it or you don't. And for Stacy this time around, she didn't know as much.
Problem with movie release dates in round two is that there's absolutely no advantage in going to multiple choice except just to diminish the cushion, you know, of a potential steal. So, you know, you could be, so if you don't go multiple choice, then you're opening yourself up to 2-point steals. But if you do go multiple choice, then you're kind of just not really getting much usefulness of it. So
but at the same time, though, like
unless you're real good.
Saying that but at the same time, like Dan got like 3 steals in directors. Like if it was movie release dates, I don't think he would get as many steals as he did out of directors.
Fair enough, but I think probably directors is the only thing Stacy would have wanted less than movie release dates. I'm guessing those were the 2 that she didn't want, and
fair enough.
Happy with anything else on that wheel, so it was probably worth it to her to spin again. She just had very bad luck.
Yeah, I mean, it's a thing. Round 2 can either make you or break you, and unfortunately for Stacy, round 2 broke her. I mean, it happens. It happens to me constantly. It happens to anyone like who can compete. Like it's not like round 2. I think is one of the most important. It's probably the most important round because it's the one that can either sustain your lead or KO you, which happened today. And as for the interviews go, like I enjoyed both interviews. Like Jay's always funny when he's doing his interview. Because when he wins, he talks crap when he wins. Like when his people wins. When he loses, he kind of talks crap about them. Like, oh, they got lucky, which I think is kind of funny.
Yeah.
I forgot to mention about interviews, which I made it a point to say this before we went on live, was Stacey Howard's quote of the year, I think. I mean, Finstock has so many great ones, but when Stacey was like, when Jay was like, oh, you gonna chew up that horse? And she was like, yeah, we'll chew that horse. I don't give a fuck. I thought that was golden. I thought that was so funny. Yeah, that made my day watching that match. That quote just made my day about that match.
Yeah. Brandon.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where Dan Murrell is back and he had a good day. And when Dan Murrell has a good day, you're probably going to lose. And then on top of that, it looked like Stacy just had a bad day, and you get knocked out in the second round when things like that happen. So it's unlucky. Dan he was ready to play. So it's going to be really interesting to see him go up against Ethan. But yeah, and then, just the movie release dates, that's a tricky category. I think she made the right choice spinning again, although I do see the argument that Dan could have gotten less steals. Because, I get what you're saying to movie release dates. Multiple choice doesn't really help unless you just have completely no idea what decade that movie came out in. Multiple choice isn't really that helpful. Even me, I'm always off by a year or so. Every time I get a movie release dates question, I'm off by 1 year. But yeah, at the end of the day, Dan was the stronger competitor, and just really looking forward to see how well he competes against Ethan, because we know that Ethan has proved himself to be quite the competitor himself.
Yeah. It was Stacey Howard put up a good fight, but she just got a category that she was not really wanting, and it was just really tough, and she had to face a competitor on the best performance he's had in a year.
Mm-hmm.
So
just a bad day.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a whole lot of bad luck for Stacey Howard.
Yeah, too sometimes.
Yeah. So I do want to talk about these pre and post credit scenes here. So we see Brienne going to Thad, requesting a commissioner, 2 more people to enter the commissioner battle, at least Tom Dagnino to enter the commissioner spot with Thad and Harloff. And then we see Thad asking Emma to then join that as well. So now it's going to be, at the Spectacular, Thad, Emma, Tom, and Harloff, all for the commissioner. I do have a theory, though, and I'm saying this here so that I can say that I told you so to all of you when it happens at the Spectacular. I'm just kidding, but I'm not. Anyway, I think that Brienne is going to either work in herself or Kalinowski, or manipulate it to where one of those two are going to be in that commissioner bowl.
I don't think so.
Kalinowski will manipulate himself to get into that commissioner bowl.
I don't think so, because he has a match. He has a 5-round match that he's going to play.
So maybe not Kalinowski, but Brienne could be in that commissioner bowl.
I'm one of those people that, I don't like when they keep on adding people. That was the thing about the manager last season. I was cool when it was just whoever was in the match. I was really looking forward to just a Christian versus Thad match by itself. And then they just keep on adding people. I'm like,
gonna win that one. I mean, there's no question.
I know, but still, when you have certain matches set, it gets me all excited. And they're like, oh no, we're gonna add some more people. I'm like, ugh. Well, it's like basically if you're going to wrestling, it would be like, for example, say Andre the Giant versus Hulk Hogan, and then all of a sudden they just add Macho Man, Ultimate Warrior, Bret Hart, Stone Cold, and they just start adding people. It takes away.
I don't watch wrestling, but to me that sounds cool. So I don't see your argument there, Richard. But maybe it's different because I don't watch wrestling.
Well, but you're one of the sheep. You're one of the sheep like that.
Okay.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Bah. But anyway. So yeah, thoughts on where you guys think that is going to go. I haven't asked for thoughts on this whole commissioner situation. So Brandon, I'll start with you.
Yeah, I personally don't see Kalinowski forcing himself into the match, considering that Thad is already there, and Thad is kind of his little puppet still. So to me, it wouldn't make sense for both of them to be there. But yeah, I loved the post-credits scene. Dagnino had a couple one-liners that killed me, where he's just like Thad's just trying to talk to him, and he's just like, "Take off the mask, Kalinowski." And then at the end, he was like, "Where are your strings?" He's like, how many strings? But yeah, it should be interesting to see them all compete in that Commissioner Bowl. Like, you know, Christian, and he's been a champion, so he's no joke, not to be taken lightly. But it's been a while since he's really played, so I think that rust is going to kind of even out the playing field a bit, and I think that Commissioner's Bowl could be anyone's to win.
I think
Well,
it's. I mean, Fife.
He had that Patreon match against Ellis, so
That's
it's not like
true.
it was
Yeah,
extreme rust.
but I don't know. But I did forget about that. But you know, there was probably a lot less pressure for that because that was just like an exhibition match. So this match really is going to mean something other than just pride against Ellis. So it'd be interesting to see how that plays out.
Yeah. Okay, so I haven't gone to everybody, have I?
No.
Sorry, man. I forgot.
Did Richard go?
Well, I'm going to you.
Oh, okay. Excuse me. Yeah, it's good seeing Brienne. One thing about Brienne, these last two pre-credit scenes, she's dressed really cool. I like her style. During the Ben Bateman Clark Wolf match, she looked almost like a skater. You know, she had the checkered shirt, you know, button down or button down. You know, she had the little hat on. She looked like she was, you know, she could jump on a skateboard and go hang out in the park. This one, you know, she was cool. She had the orange shirt with a little hat. So she's a fashionista. I did like this one. I don't know where this one was videotaped at because this doesn't look like a Collider. I didn't see because this one has a brick background. But it's funny seeing
mailbag set. That's the mailbag set.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
For Collider mailbag.
Yeah, it's cool seeing Tom out there, just being Tom. You know, Finstock, whatever you want to call him. This is this type of Emma Fife I do really like because she's kind of natural here. She's being herself. You know, she's not trying to be like super good when she's with the Fife Club. Like I can understand. It's just like when people say like, "Oh, wrestling is kind of fake because." You know, they're not paid actors. And then, you know, when you have them talking or trying to show emotions, it just looks fake for some people because it's like, well, yeah, they're not movie stars. So when they're supposed to hate somebody, you know, some of the promos come off really cheesy in wrestling. But this one was cool, man. Her and Finstock's interaction was cool. I love their back and forth. And then Thad, both of them clowning Thad, you know, was funny. I don't understand. You know, yeah, poor Thad, you know, but that, I mean, when you walk around with that type of Hawaiian shirt, like you're asking for it, dude. Like I was thinking, like bullying is not is not cool in America. So but he's just asking for trouble, man. Like he probably runs to his car every day, so the little kids in the neighborhood won't like slap him up, and stuff. That dude, man, that's Jesus Christ. I don't know what he's thinking. But yeah, it's good to see Finstock and Emma kind of same playing field, just going back and forth. They have a target to talk about. But this manager's bowl just doesn't, or not manager's bowl, that was last year. This commissioner bowl just doesn't really add up to me. Doesn't make any sense because Christian has more movie knowledge than all three of them combined. Like, that's one thing I don't get. Christian's a former champion. They've been doing this trivia show for at least 7 years? Like, they've been doing this for a very long time. Like, that dude still constantly watches movies. Just because he doesn't play doesn't mean like. And Thaddeus, I don't know if he's really that good. I don't think I've ever seen him in a match. So I don't think he's. When it was just going to be him and Christian, I thought that match was going to be like, I don't know, 18-0, just like the match we just witnessed. Because I'm like, what is Thaddeus going to be able to do against Christian when it comes to movies? And now you add in Emma and Tom, which it just seems like the foregone conclusion is Christian's going to win that easily. So it's weird. We got to see where else it goes. Maybe Richard might be wrong. I understand Richard talking about adding more people might, be kind of like, ugh, which is, I could understand that. But they're going to have to add some kind of heavy hitter into this or Christian's just going to win this easily, like flat out. So I don't know.
That's why
Brienne does make sense if they add her in, but I don't think Mike's gonna be added in because All these matches are going to be pretty much taped at the same time, and he's got to play his IG championship match, and that's a 5-round match. You know, so I don't think he's going to play 2 matches at the
That's
spectacular.
why I said either Mike or Brienne. That one of those 2 is probably going to be in it, but I don't think both of them will.
Yeah, it could be Brienne, you know, but it's weird because I honestly do think more people are going to be added because like Jay Washington's going to get wind of this. And he's going to say, wait a minute, they're managers. Why are they going up for the commissioner? I should be in it. And then maybe another manager. Who else is really out there?
I think Jay could probably get added into it. I think maybe Ken might be able to get added into it.
Yeah. Well, no, he's got that Star Wars match. That's the thing. That's what's funky. I don't really know where they're going, but you know, Richard,
people have done multiple titles before, like defended multiple titles.
Yeah, that's true. Well, yeah, we got to see where it goes. But yeah, this was a fun closing segment because, you know, Emma and Finstock were just killing it against Thad. You know, he doesn't have a backbone. He doesn't have any defense. He doesn't have any witty comeback. So I guess he's like easy target, and they both had a field day. And I like the dynamic they had with them. But this was interesting.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, Sam Levine at Spectacular 1. What was the Spectacular last year? Was that Spectacular 1 or Spectacular 2? Okay, Spectacular 2, above the line. I couldn't remember because last year's Collision was the first Collision, and sometimes I get Spectacular and Collision.
Yeah, they're like one off from each other.
Yeah. So anyway, Sam Levine played 2 matches at the Collision, if I'm not mistaken, because he beat Harloff. And then he played the Patriots with Above the Line because Above the Line won the team tournament and Levine won the singles tournament. So that's how that worked out. So Levine did play 2 matches at the Spectacular. So it has been done before, so it could happen again. But, did I get to everybody's thoughts on this whole break?
No, not me.
Oh, Richard.
Like, here's the thing. Like, I'm sure they're going to add some more people into this match. Like, I can see Jay being added in. I can see Ken, maybe Ken. And I can also, like, in a sense, like, Mike not necessarily adding himself, but he might add Chance, since Chance is now out of the tournament.
Ooh, that's a thought. You're assuming that it's going to be a movie league match. It could be a stipulation match. It could be IG, where Christian might not be as strong as he is in movie league. It could be a specialty match. Like, there's going to be, like, my theory is there's going to be a stipulation where it's going to hinder Christian's performance in this match, and a stipulation, like some sort of stipulation. I don't know what type of stipulation. But that's going to be my theory because, like, I agree. Like, Christian is, like, as of the competitors right now, Christian is the strongest and the definite favorite. Because, like, I was also thinking the same thing of Haven. Like, I'd never seen Thad in a match. I don't know if Thad's good or not. Maybe Thad's, like, amazing for all we know. And he's just been biding his time. Yeah.
It's good.
My theory is going to be a stipulation. There's going to be a stipulation of some sort.
Yeah. Okay. So I do want to talk about next week's matches a little quickly, but just quickly talk about those. So we've got Ethan Irwin versus Dan Merle and Clark Wolf versus Andraco. So what are your guys' thoughts on that? Haven.
I'm going Clark Wolf. Clark Wolf is going to win that one. She showed that she's that she could go to distance. And Draco, I do like him a lot, and I should have picked him in the beginning of the tournament, but sometimes he's kind of I don't know if his laid-back demeanor that sometimes maybe makes you not think that he's really good in trivia, because he just hasn't had that one match for me yet where I'm like, put him on an extra echelon where I'm like, okay, always pick him. But I got to go with Clark Wolf. And Dan Merle versus Ethan. This is going to be a great match. I do believe I'm going to go with Dan. you know, at the very end. But this match is going to go 3 rounds, and I think it's going to go to the last question. You know, Ethan Irwin is a different animal than Stacey Howard. It would be surprising if it wouldn't be surprising, but well, to most people, it probably would be surprising if Ethan wins. But I'm gonna pick Dan. I'm gonna pick the safe bets. I'm gonna go Clark and Dan.
All right, Richard.
I am going. See, the Andrega Wolf, like they're both like good opponents. Both have had great matches. Both have had not so great matches in singles before. So I'm going to go with slight edge to Andrego, and Dan versus Ethan, I'm going to give it to Dan.
Okay.
Because,
sorry.
I was going to say real quick, because like many people like forget, like Andrego has beaten Ethan in a singles match. He's no slouch, and his last 2 matches have been really good. So I feel like Andrego has the mindset, like it's possible that Wolf can beat him too. So like it's gonna be close, but I'm gonna give Andrego Dan. That's been my 2 picks so far.
Yeah, Brandon.
Yeah, I think both matches are going to be pretty close. All 4 of them really strong competitors. I'm going to give the edge to Andreyko over Clark. I just think that, you know, a lot of people underestimate Andreyko. I think he's one of the toughest competitors in this league. He's just a really smart guy and knows a lot of movie trivia, and he just knows how to keep calm and just play the game right. And I just think he's going to edge out Clark. And I'm going to have to go with Dan over Ethan just based on the performance that we saw this week. Dan Murrell is back. He's the Dan Murrell of old. If he can keep up this momentum, he's going to take it all the way to getting that belt back from Roca. So,
yeah, I agree with you guys. I think Murrell Dan going to be close. Murrell Irwin is going to be close, but I think ultimately Dan is going to pull that off. And I think Wolf and Andreyko is going to be close, but I think Wolf is going to pull that one off. And then we're going to have Murrell versus Wolf 2, I want to say, because I think they've only played each other once. But we're going to see another Murrell Wolf match, and that'll be the finale of the tournament. And it's kind of going to be interesting, because I believe Christian said that all 4 of these competitors are going to have another shot even if they lose, because if there's going to be the semifinalists are going to face off with the person who didn't play the tournament. 2 semifinalists face off, and then the person who didn't win the tournament face off, and then that match is going to be at the live event. So the number 1 contender will be at the spectacular between person who lost, just the second placer in the tournament, and the semifinalists of the tournament. And then the live event is going to have the winner of that number 1 contender against John or whoever may be the champion at that time. So so we, all 4 of these have at least one chance to become the champion, even if they lose one of these matches. So don't count anybody out yet. So I like that quite a bit. So did I go to everybody about their predictions?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay. So we are going to see where we can find everybody. Start off with the newest guest here, at least since I've started hosting Schmoedown All Access. Richard Schwartz, the glorified jobber. Where can everybody find you?
They can find me on Facebook under Richard Schwartz. You can find me on YouTube under External Void, Twitter under External Void. You can find me right here at Jack of All Trivia, doing my thing.
Okay. Brandon, the intern.
Yes, you can find me at Twitter and Instagram at BrandonHanna07. You can find me at youtube.com/BrandonHanna and patreon.com/BrandonHanna. So give me your money. I will appreciate it. Thank you.
Give me your money.
I need it. Money, please. That's a Parks and Rec reference. For those of you that don't know.
Oh, man, Jenny Slayton, Parks and Rec. Mona Lisa Saperstein.
The worst.
Haven.
Of course, you can find me on Facebook at Jack of All Trivia, and of course on YouTube at Jack of All Trivia. I'm always there doing stuff where I'm behind the scenes. But yeah, jack of all trivia, baby.
Okay, and you can find me on just if you want to find my stuff, you can just search up Caleb Boatman. I don't post a lot on everything, but you know, I do want to do more stuff on my YouTube channel this December. So that's Caleb Boatman. Look out for that because I do want to start doing some different things on there now that my semester has ended. So might want to start doing some fun stuff on there. But anyway, the more important thing is find me on Schmoedown All Access every Sunday, 3 p.m. Well, 3 p.m.-ish Eastern Time. You can find everybody here, you know, great group of panelists on the Jack of All Trivia channel, Schmoedown All Access. Find me playing trivia here. You know, my team, the Young Bucks, my faction, the Apocalypse. Find me playing with that. We got the team tournament should be coming up soon. That's going to be a lot of fun. We've got a couple people in here, Haven and Brandon, who will be participating in that team tournament. So going to be a lot of fun there. But anyways, from the glorified jobber, from the intern, from the villain, from me, Lil Boat, this has been Schmoedown All Access. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.